You said tie down.
No.
He said tie down, didn't he?
Thai town. We'll go back to the recording.
And then there's some baby corn.
An actual corn.
Actual corn.
My mouth was salivating, so I started eating already. It's the namtok, so it's like the boat noodle soup, and it's with pork.
This is the authentic moon pie experience. It's hot.
Like Thai instant noodles.
This is the mama noodles.
Hello.
Maybe I'll grab some.
No. No. Here in Thai town, and Derek is bringing us to what? The what? Like W-A-T-T? W-A-T. Hello! Hello! You're so cute! Hello there! Are you a house cat? Are you a stray? You're so cute! There it is, in the middle of this residential area. You have this wat. No. Oh. Hello. Derek wants to play ball. He's leaving.
It's impromptu stand-up though. I'm trying to ball, and this one made me try to make this stupid video.
He wants to join them, but I'm like, no one wants to play with him.
I'm trying to play.
So today we're at a park and I wanted to do a fun video. Honestly, I want to see how the audio quality is first. If it's bad, I'm gonna just have to ditch this video. But I want to talk about how our jobs have changed due to the pandemic. This is a question we get all the time, like either during the pandemic or after the pandemic.
I never get this question.
Really? Seriously?
I've gotten it like twice.
I get it so often because I think in consulting specifically, you travel all the time.
Yeah.
And that's one reason why people like consulting is you can travel. But if you don't travel, that kind of loses the appeal for a lot of people. I am a technology consultant at Accenture. You are?
I am a UX designer. Well, I don't know if I'm a UX designer. I'm kind of like a bit of everything. I would say I'm like a product designer at a company in Boston.
Okay.
My company had this policy where you got a chance to work, like you choose your day and then you work from home, but you're expected to be online. But now that everyone's online, like it's the opposite where we are expected to go once into the office, but I moved to New York since the pandemic, so I'm not expected to go into the office. I'm expected to go in like once a quarter or something. So I guess that's one of the main differences.
Did a lot of your coworkers also move? Or did they just mostly stay where they were already?
Some of my coworkers moved. I guess it depends on your function as well. Like as a designer, you kind of have to be in person if you're going to be conducting any sort of in-person ethnographic research. But all of our interviews were done remotely anyways because we have customers across the U.S. So it depends on your role. I would say if you're a consultant or if you're in a role that requires you to travel, I would say being not on site, being off site is probably the biggest change, right?
Okay. So at least like as a consultant specifically, most people imagine that as like you get to travel a lot, which to be honest, even before the pandemic, I did not travel as much as what other people were doing. I mean, like in general, tech consulting, they don't travel as much as management consulting. But now everything is strictly remote. I think there were some articles out there that said Accenture has moved completely remote, but to be honest, even before we were remote. And they did say that depending on what are critical, for example, design sessions, we typically do that in person. We'll still do that in person. I personally have not gone any travel at all yet, but I have known some people who did go on site already, even like during the middle of the pandemic, because it was mission critical. So that's not something that is going to go away. And I think a lot of people who were already going to be doing some roles that are not as client facing, they're probably not going to do that much client work in person. Instead, it'll be online.
Do you feel sad that you're not traveling anymore?
I actually quite like it because then now I can kind of be able to have my own life here. I could do YouTube properly. I can do Rover. If you're going to check out my video, check that out. So that way, when I go on site, I can explore new places. But you know, like I could go to the middle of like nowhere in Minnesota and I'll hate my life.
Who wants to go to Minnesota?
But like sometimes you can't choose where the client is. So I guess it depends on where the client is. If the client's in Japan,
You can quit.
I want to go, okay? But if they're in Minnesota, I'm sorry. For people in Minnesota, I probably don't want to go there.
There.
Did you have to do interviews in person? Or
With, like people interviewing for my company?
no, like for your like UX research kind of thing?
Oh, those type of interviews. We've done a few. There was like one day where we went up to a university and we spent the whole day there doing focus groups and interviews. They showed us around the facility and stuff. There's been a few other times where we've had to do that, but even in the past, like if there's a college out in like Oregon or Seattle or like even across the world, we've had customers that were out of like England or like the UK.
Yeah.
We did those calls completely remotely.
So you never traveled then?
We've traveled like briefly. I've gone for like conferences and stuff, and I guess that's another big change is that if your company is paying for you to do like any sort of continued learning or for you to go to conferences, a lot of those are done remotely now. So they organize these virtual conferences and you can just log into Zoom and meet all these people abroad. But I don't think the experience is really the same. I think that's one of the biggest things I miss is being able to kind of meet other people in real life and book a hotel room and get drinks and just honestly, I'm talking about conferences as if I'm like dating, but honestly, like meeting people in real life, I think is a huge, important part of it.
Yeah, I have to say the same too. Like, it's not a conference, but training specifically. Like, I already did 3 trainings online, and it's not as fun as doing it in person. I mean, granted, if I went in person, I would still have to be there to just do training. It's not like I can actually finish training and then go out if I wanted to, which is like literally, if you looked at my training blog, I literally went out to dinner with Derek and Ad. I would not be able to do that if I was on site. So that's one thing I did like about it. But one thing that was sucky about it is that if your training is in a different time zone than what you're normally used to, you have to work in those time zones. So it's not like you will be adjusted to those normal time zones if you were there. So I did have to deal with like PST time zone where the hours started at 11:30 a.m. in Eastern time and then it finished at like 8:30. So that's kind of late for us, but I recently did start one that's like 9 a.m. So that's okay. So that was like one thing that I liked and disliked about training or continue learning. All right, so do you like the changes? Like, I feel like because of this, it actually allowed you to come to New York, right? If it wasn't even allowing this in the first place, you probably couldn't.
I think I would not have the guts to ask. Because if everyone's working remotely anyways, and some people aren't even going into the office, and we have no clue how long COVID's going to last, I think that's made people more gutsy and ballsy, and like there's this thing called the Great Resignation, where people are just leaving their jobs because they don't want to, or the exodus, or whatever people are calling it, because people don't want to be stuck in an office. They want the flexibility because like parents have kids.
Yeah.
People have lives outside of work.
I have cats. You just shut up.
And I think being able to focus on your own personal life and your own personal development outside of just work, I think is important.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that's been for me, it's been an overall plus, for sure.
How was your experience in New York? I feel like it has been a great experience for you,
It's
right?
been good so far, except you keep annoying me and don't let me ball. I'm trying to ball with these people. And she keeps interviewing me for these stupid shorts.
These are not shorts, these are
These should be
videos.
60-second shorts. We don't need 10 minutes telling people what's going on. Yeah, I know. I'll do a tag team ad right here.
Wow.
All right.
Wow.
Oh, sorry. I'm gonna ball.
Okay.
I have the biggest itch to ball, bro. I need to ball.
You're not even dressed for it.
I have ball shoes. That's all you need, bro.
Comment down below if you think he's a flaker. Come here. You're up. All right. Next up, we have Addison Chen. So, as you guys may have known, if you have been following my channel, he's my boyfriend and we live together and we are parents to 3 cats. We both work at Accenture in the Workday division, but doing separate roles. So, kind of want to talk about it to you of like, how has your experience during the pandemic with tech consulting? Because I feel like with this specifically, your role probably did not change that much.
It did not. I mean, for me, it's the same thing because I'm an integration consultant, so it's mostly remote work anyway. So it makes no difference if I go to the office or not.
But what do you think like has changed? I'm pretty sure something has changed. I think I know at least before work-life balance was better because at that point, no one was really like actually caring about the fact that, oh, I'm working these hours. But now when you're working remotely, there's no such thing. It's really just like working whenever people's working. Do you feel that's the truth for you?
I guess, yeah.
Yeah, before people could say like, 9 to 5 or that like I need to go home or I'm on site kind of thing, and they kind of use that to kind of partition the day or saying that you can't work. But now a lot of people are just home. They're just like, okay, well, I got nothing else to do. I'm just going to work.
I can see that. I think I usually work really early in the morning and I still finish around 5 or 6 or later. But it depends on my role in the project.
Yeah. So do you actually like it this way? Did you feel like you wanted to travel?
I mean, I feel like I do want to try traveling now a bit because at this point I've just been home most of the time in the city. So I think for me, yeah, I want to travel, but right now it feels about the same. Like I think this is a new norm. We're going to be working from home from now on.
But do you like our office? Because like we did go to the office a few times. Definitely check out my office vlog over here, and then that way you can kind of see how that whole experience was. It's like very similar to how it was before the pandemic, but the only difference is now, before when there was a lot of people that showed up to the office, there's not that many people coming up now anymore because of the fact that they either moved further away from New York City or Manhattan. So now they're like, instead of New Jersey, where they could probably commute easily in, they have to go to Connecticut. So it's a bit harder. And not to mention, there's a lot of people now in our office that are actually traveling as they're working. So for example, we do have a coworker that's currently in Korea and working at the same time in like our US time zones.
I agree as well.
Yeah.
I wish I can travel like that so I can be away from home for a bit. Get myself refreshed again.
But it also did allow us to be able to like find a place, because if I was traveling all the time, I feel like that'd be difficult.
I mean, easy for me because I don't have any cats. I could just go by myself. Mostly Christine's deals with the cats anyway.
Well, actually, one other thing for me specifically is that because of that, I was able to foster cats. I was able to do rovers. So it's been a blessing for me to not be able to travel that much. But when travel comes again, like even so, there's not going to be that much travel like before, where there was like only once or twice, maybe only once every other month, which I'm fine with too. So I think we're gonna wrap it off here. There's not that many changes specifically for Addison and me. For me, a little bit more, but for Derek, it looks like a lot of his, like even the change with the pandemic allowed him to be able to move out of like the home state that his company is at. So let's kind of give you a little tour of what we're doing. We're at this, actually today we were checking out Thai Town in Elmhurst, and now we're at this park to kind of chill a little bit as we digest all the food we had. And then Derek is over there, literally being a loner, waiting to ball, like he's on the bench. He wants to join the big boys. All right. Signing off.
Peace.
Remember, make that bag for your kitties. Yeah.
No.